Hello, welcome to Tom's Kitchen, 30th of May this time. Welcome. It's a lovely day out, and again, I'm cooking in a kitchen. Thank you for joining me. If you're watching this back on retrospectively, thanks for watching. I hope it's going to be a good journey. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing apple cake and we're going to do tomato and onion straws. Let me just get a link to the recipes and then we will be ready to go. Let me know how you are in the chat and let me know what you've been up to. And I'm sure you'll probably learn slowly but surely what I've been up to as well. So hopefully everyone is good. Sticking to that social distancing and all that malarkey. So there's the recipes. Hopefully that link works. So today we are going to be doing apple cake. It's kind of strangling me a bit. Today we're going to be doing apple cake and we're going to be doing tomato and onion straws. To start off with, we're going to be doing apple cake first of all. So what we need to do is we need to chop and peel these cooking apples. Okay, they're not normal apples, they're cooking apples. That's what we're going to be using today. So let me just get my peeler and my knife. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be cutting these apples up. We're going to peel them, core them, and then dice them. Okay, so first of all, let's start peeling them. The reason why in the recipe it says to do one large apple. Now, if you can tell by the sizes of apples, one's huge, one's a bit small. Doesn't really matter necessarily. I'm always a big fan of apple, so the more apple, the better. You just have to make sure that you chop it small enough so then it doesn't affect your cooking time. Okay, but we'll get onto that in a bit. Hello, Tamara. Thank you for leaving the garden and watching. I'm sure you can probably watch it in the garden, but I don't know if neighbours will appreciate. So so we're just going to chop this up. I'm just going to move my mouse. Peel these apples and then we're going to get the core out. Yeah, it's a lovely day. I think my neighbours are currently having, I think a couple of days early, but a 6-person get together in their garden. And there's a few more cars that have appeared, so there's a few more households that have got in the action. So the unfortunate thing with that is that no matter how warm it gets in this kitchen, I can't open my windows because all of a sudden they'll start to realise that I'm actually just talking to myself about cooking. So today, unfortunately, I just got to sweat. That's what I'm going to do. So typically I would prep this before coming on camera, but with these apples, they go brown pretty quick. So you want to kind of make the most out of how quick you can get it in your mixture. Okay, so we've got one there. We'll do the other one. Just going to throw away this peel. And the big one. Peel the big one. So if you've got a better peeler than me, I think my peeler is kind of been used quite heavily, so it's slowly getting a bit more ineffective with its peeling. But we're getting there, that's the main thing. What I will do after doing these is I will preheat the oven. The oven needs to be at 180. Because actually once you've done this, this is probably your major component in terms of prep. Because everything else, it's just basically putting it in a bowl and mixing it up and stuff. So there's not necessarily anything in terms of extra prep than this that needs to go by. So I'm just going to reduce my tunes because apparently it can be heard. So yeah, what we're going to be doing is mainly just then concocting it all in the bowl and then putting it all together and then putting it finally in my bread tin. So, hello Charlie, how are you doing? You've managed to catch me this week? Not washing a car. I think you're washing your car last, or your mum was getting you to wash a car last week, weren't you? So, at least you managed to grab today. Today we're going to be doing apple, cake and tomato and onion straws. So, we're just going to be just currently peeling this cooking apple. So it's not normal apples, it's cooking apples that we want. So I got 2 of these from the shop, or I got it delivered, because I'm still trying to be as sensible as possible in terms of interactions. So yeah, we're nearly done with this. There you go. I hope you did a good job of washing the car, even if you were begrudgingly washing the car. So yeah, so we're nearly, just a few more bits here. So what we're going to do is we are doing the apple cake, and then once the apple cake is in the oven, then we're going to be doing the tomato and onion straws. Okay, so I'll put this away. Then I'm going to put the oven on. To 180. So now that's heating up. That to the side. We'll need that in a bit. Or we can core them up now. So take the middle. So yeah, you should then core out the middle. So then if I continue that, that should help us get rid of the entire core of the apple and just leave us the workable bits. Okay, so they're the workable bits that we're going to chop up. And then we're going to core again. The reason why I'm doing it one at a time is, and then leaving it until we start cutting it, is because you want consistent pieces. So you want pieces that will cook, that take the same amount of time to cook. Okay, so that's coring it again. So now what we want to do is we want to really chop these up fine, because the bigger the chunks are, the longer it takes to cook. So we're going to chop these up, and hopefully not have it scoot across the counter as it did that time. And just chop them up nice and thin. You could actually have a bowl here to just collect the pieces. A visual guide to how small these pieces have to be, I guess, is you used to get those packets of like pre-made carrot and swede and stuff. They're like cubes. So that's kind of what we're going for in terms of tiny little chunks. And then once you've got an idea of how big they are, keeping that consistently upon when you're doing these chunks. So you don't want anything to be too big because otherwise it will take longer for that to cook. So, how's your week been, Charlie? Has it been okay? Are they going to be forcing you to go back to school soon? Obviously, I know you're not the first to do because I know you're a lot more older than that. But in terms of secondary and stuff, are they going to be trying to force you to go back? So yeah, we're just chopping these up. So this is why you did it, I don't prep it, because you can tell how brown it's going already. And you don't want that to happen. So once we have this ready to go, we're going to have to work quite quick to get it all together. Just chopping it up. I was in year 11, so I don't know. So I don't have to do my exams. Wow. It's hit you at a decent time then. You just finished a lot sooner than you expected. So what are you doing? What are you doing at college? What's the plan? Is it like subject wise? Is it A levels, BTECs? What are we talking? Are you doing more cookery? So you can be doing this as a legit profession rather than something to do because you're a bit bored at home. So again, cool. It's getting nice and thin. 2 more pieces. What are the subjects between then? What would you not do and what would you do? Or what would you like to do in terms of like, are you more academic? Are you more hands-on? Yeah, 6-month break. You can't, when you start college, the only problem is now is that you have no excuse of being tired or overworked or anything like that because you've had a 6-month break before you start college. Talk about the longest summer ever. So, right, so these are the chunks now. The chunks are now done. So what we're going to do is we are going to work on the mixture. Okay. So we want my scales, which are over here. Okay. So we are going to do 75 grams of margarine. So we've got marge here. When the scales decide to wake up, $75 grams of marge, yeah. Leave that there. I might actually put that in the fridge because it's getting a bit warm for the next one. And then what we're going to do is we're going to mix it with the sugar. So it says on here that you have to use brown sugar. Now, unfortunately, I don't have brown sugar. So what we are going to do instead is we are going to use caster sugar. So I've got my caster sugar here, and you want 75 grams of caster sugar. So okay, so that's 75 grams, and then what we want to do is we want to take this off the scales for a little bit, and we want to work this in. You want to work the margarine and the sugar. So this is our first stage, and then what we're going to do after this is we're going to add in the mix. So you want to just keep mixing it around. The sugar will eventually stick and collect onto the margarine, and you want to basically make it until it's a creamy texture. It's getting there. The texture's kind of changing a little bit, as you can see. Small spoons. We don't want to be all this mixture is vital, so you don't want to lose any on the spoon if you can help it. Okay, so now that's nice and mixed. What we're going to do now is we are going to add in the mixture, so the low protein flour. So we are wanting 175 grams of low protein flour. When the scales respond, so you want 175 grams. Okay, 175 grams. Put that over here. Then baking powder. So we need a teaspoon. Baking powder, so I'll just get my spoons. Half teaspoon. So 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Okay, and then what we need is 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon. So here's some cinnamon. That's half. Okay, there's our cinnamon. So now what we're going to do is we're going to mix this up, and then we're going to do a little thing with our egg replacer just after this. So then that's pretty much it now done with the scales. So we want to mix this up. It's going to be a bit messy. Got myself a drink. It's very warm. It's like I'm slow cooking myself in this environment. Okay, so I'm just mixing this up. So the idea is you're working it in the mix, so the mix is then equally spread across everywhere. You're not, obviously we're not doing anything to add water necessarily into it at the moment, so you just want to make it look like it's blending it. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to just do a little thing with egg replacer here. So I'm going to have a little mug. Our egg replacer is here. You want a teaspoon of egg replacer. Make sure the spoon is not feeling cinnamony. Okay, we're going to put one into there. Okay, and then we're going to do a few bits of water. Okay, just to mix it up. Okay. So mix this up. Mix up the egg replacer. So this is just blending it, because obviously it's quite a gritty object and quite a gritty item as it is. So just blending it up. And then we're going to add this into the mix. As well as, so just going to add this in. Make sure you try and get it all out. That's why I used a mug, so there's less wastage. Okay, and then what we need is cold water of about 90 ml to add into this as well. Yep, it's about 90 ml. So we're going to now just pour this in, and then we're going to stir it around. Okay. And the idea is now we're mixing it to be a dough-like texture. Make sure you get all the excessive flour around the sides. You don't want anything. I like doing that because it looks cool. You don't want to leave any unmixed liquid in the sides. Okay. Okay, so again, how you can tell that's a decent liquid is it's pouring good. Yeah, that's pouring nice. I'm just going to mix it more and more into a dough. So like form a soft dough. And then after that stage, you're going to be adding in your apples. Faith for myself because I won't be able to go back to school. Yeah. When I don't write for a while, like physically handwrite, my handwriting at the end is shocking, to say the least. Okay, so then we're going to add in this apple. Again, you want to try and get this round. This is where the mammoth task begins. Especially if you've made a lot of apple, this is where it becomes a bit harder to make sure that it goes across everywhere. You want mixture to have hit and to cover at least every apple piece that you have going in your thing, in your mixture. Okay, so that's looking good. Make sure that you're trying to just flip it a bit from the bottom because that's obviously where everything will settle, just so it covers it decently. And then what I'm going to do is just going to grease my baking tray. Try and not kill people's ears with this. I'll go and grease it out there because obviously a person said that it hurt their ears before. Okay, so I've greased it up. Greased up the tray. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put this in the baking tray. Okay, so let me just see how's it going. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to put this in here. I'm just going to get myself a little tray to put the baking tin on. And then we are going to pour this mixture into our baking tray. Okay, this is where it can get a bit messy. You want to try and have an equal spread, otherwise you're going to have a lopsided cake. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to just move this round the tin, just so if you have any higher points, or if you have any points that are too big or too small, then they will cook at different speeds, and that is not what we want. We want this to be quite consistent across everywhere. Okay, so that's what it's looking like at the moment. I will show you it to the camera. So there you go. That's what it's looking like. So it's going to go in now. And when it's in here, you're going to do for about 40 minutes. Okay, so it's just doing its thing. I'm now going to set an alarm for 40 minutes. And then we'll work on the tomato and onion straws. So, let me just, my phone is just loading up, so I can put my timer on. 40 minutes, and then we'll give it a check. Okay, so now on to my onion straws, and we're going to do this while the other one is cooking. So remove that, put this in the soak, so it's easier to wash up at the ends. Okay, so to my onion straws time. First of all, what we're going to do is we're going to grate our onions, okay? So we need about 50 grams worth of onions, so I've got 2 onions here. We will. We'll use another. We'll use a different board. Where's the blue board? There it is. Right, so we're going to use this blue board now. We're going to chop this up, the onions. Use another knife just to be clean. And then we're going to chop this up to get rid of the skin, mainly. Because obviously we are grating this onion. So it's not about chopping it into quarters or anything like that. It's just about getting rid of the skin that maybe you don't particularly want. What's it called? That you don't particularly want to get in your food. What I did have this week, which was really cool, was a YouTube comment from Ash Murphy saying that they have PKU. They have 8 exchanges. That's close to me. And yeah, it's pretty cool that they've been watching. So cheers if you're watching this again, then Ash. Cheers for that. It means a lot. I'm just trying to improve my cooking skills and other people can see it. So if it's helping you, the social medias are there. So get in contact. Let me know how they've turned out. If any of the dishes you tried, and see what they turn out like. So we're going to now grate this. Onions are hard to cook. How many exchanges am I on? So, I had an increase. This isn't really working. I had an increase this week which meant that I am on 9 exchanges now. Because my level I got this week was 50, which is very, very low. So they were like, okay, you need to do something. So I've got my exchanges. I'm going to do a blood tomorrow, and we're going to see what the effects of that exchanges has been. Really, it's very odd to be increasing exchanges when I've stopped growing, because I'm 28 now. But I think it's because lockdown has meant that I've got more, well, I've been cooking more. It means I can start things from scratch a lot more, which meant that my tolerance has actually increased for protein out of food. It's that, or I reduce calories. And I don't particularly want to reduce calories because I like my food. So I'd much rather try a higher exchange. And that's that. Really, how many are you on? I might be getting this because obviously you're on Kuvan, Charlie. So do you count as much now, or is it just it is what it is? And what's your max amount? I swear you're on double figures, from what I can remember. So we're going to keep going. It's a messy process. It's slightly making my eyes blood. That's why I'm screwing up my face. So I might have to get some more onions. So we're looking at about 50 grams worth of onions. So we're going to put this away, and then we'll have to get some more onions. Ooh. My ass are stinking. Oh, as you can tell, I'm slowly going red, aren't I? Yeah, slowly going red because of these onions. Okay, I'm just going to do a little bit more because obviously once it gets down to the bottom it's quite hard to effectively grate. Okay, make sure it all goes into the bottom and it's not just stuck on the grater. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to get a bowl and work out how much onion this is, because we need 50 grams. Okay, so hello Anita. So apple cake is in the, I'm slowly dying because of grating onions, so bear with me. Apple cake is in the oven, that's doing its thing, and what we're making at the moment is tomato and onion straws. So the apple cake went really smoothly. The recipes for, oh, there you go. Recipes are there. They're pictures this week. From a cookbook that my mum has. Yeah, so in terms of the apple cake is in, we are literally just starting the tomato and onion straws. So we're just weighing, I've just grated parts and then we're just going to weigh them to see how much I've got. So that's actually plenty. It's deceptive how much you actually need. So I've got a little bit left over. I'm just going to clean this a little bit, this area. I also need to had my first Pip assessment yesterday, which was interesting to say the least. I feel like they may be contacting you down the line. because they probably need some more evidence, as Pip would normally. So what I've been up to this week, I have been finishing marking. I finally finished marking, which is good. Means I'm done for this academic year. What else? I've gone up to 9 exchanges. So because my level came out as 50 on Wednesday, I think. So I've gone up to 9 exchanges to see if that helps. Because for the last couple of levels it's been 120, 140 and 50. So it's quite low. The Pip Assessment, as good as I thought it would be, to be fair. They were very concerned. Well, they were very interested in what the last 12 months was, and for me, the last 12 months weren't too bad. The 12 months before was the more unpredictable. So, I think it's so. I think I put this on Twitter that my that the reason why I think it's improved my exchanges is that I'm eating more. I have a lot more time to eat. I'm obviously making a lot more, as this is evidencing. And yeah, I guess like I either could reduce my calorie intake, which I'm not putting on weight or losing weight or whatever. So I thought I'd just increase my exchanges to 9 and see what it's like. I probably know that after lockdown, I probably have to go back to 8.5 because to hold any job, I'd just reduce back down to 8.5 because I know I won't have the time to make the food. So the 9 is kind of like a short-lived lockdown special, I imagine. But I'm doing a blood tomorrow. I'm going to get the result back Tuesday or Wednesday, and we'll see what my levels are doing there and see if that's improved it and made it a bit more, not too much on the low side. So yeah, if that's your normal, Charlie, that's you know, that's a very small window, 360 to 400. So he always hits this. Right, tomato and straws. Let's. So we're going to get another bowl. I always try and choose the clear ones when I'm on live stream, just so you can see what I'm actually doing. So we're going to get the mix. We'll open another bag. We'll do this and then we'll see. So mix-wise, you are looking at 110 grams. It's about 8 or 9 grams, a little bit more. I'm keeping the bag because obviously we're doing an element of rolling on the counter, so we need the flour for that. Right, so on that. Then we're going to mix it with the baking powder. So baking powder we need half a teaspoon. So I'll get my spoons. Me and my colourful spoons. It's half a teaspoon. It's half a teaspoon of baking powder. Okay, and a pinch of salt. So I'll get the little bit of salt. And I don't really like salt, so it's got to be a very much of a pinch. I'm just going to do that. There you go. Okay, so a pinch of salt, and then what we're going to do is we're going to get the 50 grams of margarine, and we're going to rub this in. So let me just get the margarine. Have you done any filming this week? So I've filmed for like pitching for commissions. So I have technically filmed. I just haven't necessarily done anything for a client because you've got to pitch to get the to get the idea. So for pitching, instead of typing out loads, I have been doing a lot more visual applications, just so I'll use my voice and I'm actually speaking. So right, but I am doing more filming next week because I've got to film a music video for a band while in the comfort of my own home, so that'll be interesting. And I don't know what the song sounds like at the moment, so a nice stab into the unknown for me to work on for next week. And I've got my best mate coming for a social distance walk tomorrow, so that'll be nice. Actually see someone in the flesh, apart from my mum's partner who delivers the food every week, so that'll be nice. So we've got 50 grams of marge in here, and now what we want to do is we want to rub this marge in. Okay. You want to add the grated and puree, yeah. So we rub it in. Make sure the marge is getting through all the flour. So you don't necessarily want to make it too, we want to make it into breadcrumbs, and that's kind of pretty much what we want to leave it at. And then we'll be adding in our grated onion, which is in that bowl, and tomato puree to add in the tomato and the onion. It should be good. Okay, so let me just wash my hands. How has your week been, Anita? Has it been busy? I see you've got, is it 4 BCU students that all got different research papers and stuff? They're keeping you busy. It's a great course though. Is it the only one that's like a dietitian's based course? That might be quite naive. I've got to fill in. I filled in the aspartame one. I haven't filled in the, is it eating out one in restaurants and stuff? I haven't done that one yet. So, right, we're going to add in the grated onion into this. And then what we're going to do is we are going to add in our tomato puree. So tomato puree wise, you're looking at half a teaspoon. So let's get our spoons out again. There's half. Oh. Okay, that's half a teaspoon. So we're going to do half a teaspoon. Then we got that, and then what we want to do is we added that in, and now what we're going to do is going to add the water. Okay, so you're looking at 2 teaspoons of cold water. So let me get my spoons out again. And this is of cold water, so it's not warm, it's cold. What's that mean? Ah, okay. But they're the best because they work with you though, right, Anita? But yeah, I've got to fill in some of those surveys. I've been meaning to. Now I'm not marking the stuff, maybe I will get on that. Okay, so we're going to mix this up. And we want to mix this up until it's kind of like a soft dough. Almost. So it's getting into like a kind of a paste kind of feel now. Work it a bit more. It's now soft, slightly mouldable. But I'm going to add in a little bit more water just to be safe. You don't want it to be too sticky, so it's all about adding in small amounts because you can't really take it away. Yeah, I'm helping. Yeah, you know, the more people that do research projects and the more that it kind of gathers all of our voices in one coherent place, the better it will be for the condition. I completely agree. Okay, so we're just doing this. And then what we're going to do is, if anybody was here for when I did the sugar cookies, I've learned I'm going to flour everything is the thing that I'm going to do. So what we're going to do is we're just going to get some flour, move my keyboard slightly out of the way, just flour the surface. Then why we're doing this is obviously so it doesn't stick. Do they pick their topics, or do you advise them on their topics? I'm sure they probably pick their topics, and you say whether it's useful or not. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they find out with all these things. And it's good to get, like I said, it's good to get all the voices in one space. You never have enough flour, because obviously that will stop it sticking. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go get the rolling pin. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to put this on the flour. Let's try and make it come out all in one go. Yeah, so we're going to do that and move that out of the way. What we want to do is we want to make it into a ball. So this is nice and mouldable. This has actually got probably the right amount of water. I'll get some flour on it. Okay, put it on. Then what we're going to do is we're going to flour up a little bit, but not too much because it's already got enough. And then we're going to flour up. You give them the choice topic. Ah, okay. So slowly but surely you can get all your research that you'd ever want to do about PKU done. But no, it's cool. I think it's really good. It's really good. The more research that we have, the better. Okay. So we're just going to roll this out. Now, in the actual recipe, it says about it being like rectangles. Now, as a dip connoisseur, I like it that I can use it for like dipping. So I'm actually going to be doing it as as circles. So some of the mixture is sticking, so that means we haven't got enough flour on it. Okay, so that's looking good. So that's what we have now. It's really bright. It looks like on the screen. I'm just going to get a tray and grease up the tray a little bit, just so it doesn't stick. And then we're going to put this on the tray. So tray. And how long have we got left on the apple? We have 16 minutes left on the cake. So that's not too bad. And then we'll grease the baking tray. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we have the baking tray here. We're going to move the pin a little bit. Bring that here. And now we're going to cut these up. So you're going to use a little cookie cutter. You can use a knife if you want. Decides to want to come with me. Okay, there's one. If they're struggling to lift like they are a little bit right now, then we can use a fish slice. Try the thinnest one I have. Okay. Look. And then obviously, because the actual recipe says that you're making like rectangles. So it says like serve like 16 or something like that. Now for me, obviously I'm having them quite big here. So you're actually going to get less out of it. But that's okay. It's all about preference. You could have these smaller if you wished. Okay, so I'm just going to bring this all together again. Do the whole technique again, so we're going to bring it into a ball. And we'll probably be able to get one more out of this. Maybe two actually. It's nice and messy. Messiness. So the problem is now there's quite a lot of flour, so it's actually getting it breaks up a fair bit now because it's actually losing its water that originally it had. So, and then one more. There you go. So we have six there, and that's enough because that's the amount that we have on the baking tray. Now, there's a dilemma here because the cake is at 180 degrees, whereas these require 230. So what I'm going to do is for the latter end of the cake, I'm going to put this. I'm going to put this in, and then when the cake is done, it's going to be increased, and it's probably going to take about 5 more minutes than the actual time it says before. Okay, so we're just going to give it a little bit longer because it's originally starting at a low heat. Okay, so we're going to put this in now. It's smelling very apple-like in there. Okay, so we are just going to, once I put this away, because this is getting soft, we are now, I'm going to tidy up a little bit. We're just going to wait 10 minutes now for the cake to be done. And I'm just going to set another alarm. So once the cake's done, we'll increase it of the tomato and straws. Okay. How many? So no, yeah, that's right. I think it's a really old recipe. I remember I've had it for years. This when I used to be at home. So it's normally the thing I have at Christmas. That's like an alternative to dipping. So yeah, that's where it comes from. How many editions? I think this might be my 8th, maybe. Yeah, so I think it might be my 8th edition. But after today, I'm probably going to go to fortnightly editions, just because people are starting to become a little bit less locked down. That includes me, in terms of like work is getting better or like getting more increased. So yeah, so I'm probably going to be going to fortnightly after this, and then obviously I've got the one that's happening on International PKU Day, which will be 4 weeks away from here. So that kind of works out nicely if I go to fortnightly after today, and it gives me a bit more chance to perfect my skills a little bit more. But yeah, it's lovely weather, so I can't blame people for not being here. Okay, so I'm just going to clean the surface because there's a lot of flour. Ready for cake presentation. Out of all the things that I've made, which one has been the most enjoyable to make? It's a tough one. I liked the jackfruit chili last week because I've never had jackfruit. So that was a bit of a difference. I haven't thought too much about the menu for International PKU Day. If people want to suggest things, I am more than welcome to try recipes. And that's what I mean, like, with it being fortnightly, it allows me a bit more chance to try stuff out and to see if it's able to be done. So, yeah, in terms of what I like doing the donuts, I liked my birthday one. I've liked all the stuff because I am making stuff that I have genuinely enjoyed eating afterwards, rather than just making it because I feel like I should, sort of thing. So yeah, what have people's favourites been to see me make? Obviously, people would say when I filled up the blender a bit too much, but that's a funny moment rather than actually seeing me cook. So yeah, if you have any suggestions, Anita, about what I could do on International PKU Day, fire away. Yeah, so if there is any suggestions, that's not just from Anita with anything else. Obviously, we've had Emma and Flo and stuff requesting like donuts and stuff, and eventually that happened. So yeah, you're more than welcome to suggest things. Maybe you should compile the best bits for my cooking films or for my actual films. For my cooking films, I could. I do need to do a little channel trailer, as they say on the YouTube stuff. So yeah, I'll have to have a look at that. I'm going to put that in soak, otherwise that will be a nightmare to clean. Don't worry, you're not going to see me wash up, because that is boring to witness. I'm merely just putting this in just so it soaks. Sweet potato fries. I love sweet potato fries. But in terms of, there's something quite nice, to be fair, about when I've had pasta made out from restaurants. Not a particular restaurant, but just in general, because I find that their sauces are a lot more generous than, I've got better now with my homemade sauces with pasta, that I can kind of rival restaurants a little bit. But before that, I used to find it tough because I wasn't particularly good at making pasta. So then when I used to go out and people made pasta, then it was like, oh, that's amazing, sort of thing. So yeah, that, or I remember like shepherd's pie or cottage pie, can't remember. PKU version of that was really nice. But I do just I like treaty things. So pasta and pizza. Maybe I could do a homemade pizza, that'd be quite nice at one point. Oh, we got yes, so I have ordered new things on prescription. They are coming towards the end of next week. That includes, wow, I'm very flowery. That includes like the Tyrannis waffle mix and stuff like that, which will help me make waffles in my machine. So yeah, I've got a lot of new prescription stuff coming because I haven't updated my prescription in maybe 2 to 3 years. So I'll be able to do that, which will be good. And I can also do brownies out of that machine. So we will have to see. I will try out the waffles and let you know if they are any good. And then if they are good, then I will do it as a live stream. I think probably the fortnightly live stream, maybe if I become busy monthly, will probably be a consistent thing, because I like it because it forces me to keep cooking, which I know I need to do, and I know I need to improve my repertoire of cooking knowledge. So yeah, it's benefited me. It helps a few people. I've had a few comments going, it's helped them with their cooking skills. So I can't, I'm not going to disagree with that, so that's good, and at least I'm helping people, so yeah. Right. Let's sugar this down here. Yeah. So we now have probably about 5 more minutes left on the cake. How about a celebration brownie with chocolate coconut? Oh, that sounds like the perfect party outside treat, doesn't it? Sweet dips. I don't think. I was looking at doing, I don't know if guacamole counts as a sweet dip, but I was looking at that, but I'm not too keen on avocado. So, yeah, so I'm not necessarily too keen on avocado, so I wasn't necessarily going to adventure towards that too much. But yeah, I'll have to have a think, because there's a fair load of different dips, isn't there? Right, there's one last chunk here. I always get, so I don't, if guacamole isn't sweet, then it might be savoury. I always get sweet and savoury mixed up. Sweet dips, I guess, would be like chocolate and stuff like that. Yeah, like, I have ordered the Mavelia Chocolatino, which I've had before when it was on a, what's it called, a tester sort of thing. They sent it for a review and stuff. So yeah, I'll have to have a look at that because obviously that's melted chocolate that all of us can have. Yeah, that like I could probably try homemade popcorn, the toffee dip and stuff like that. By all means, yeah. I've got a good sweet tooth, so I'll have to have a look, especially if I'm venturing into waffles and that sort of thing. Waffles and ice creams. I'll be able to make my. I think I went to Berlin last year, and me and my mate Jamie, we went to like a waffle bar, and obviously I can't have anything there, so it was just like, what the hell are all these things? But the amount of like dip choices and waffle choices and that sort of thing that there were, it was absurd. It was like, why do I need to know? Why do we need this much choice? But he enjoyed it, and now I can do waffles with my machine. So that's what I'll have to try. That'd be quite fun to try. I can't remember if I've ordered the breadsticks. I haven't tried them. So celebration banana split. Oh, you're getting me hungry, Anita. You're getting me hungry. I will have to at some point, maybe actually the next one, I will do like a dessert special. We'll have to give that a go because obviously it matches. Obviously it matches the weather outside, so that sort of stuff certainly will be very desirable to have. I'm just going to bring my keyboard back up. So the apple cake, for what it says, is done, or at least is worth checking on. So I'm just going to do the knife trick. It's got a little bit longer, so I'm going to give it about 3 to 4 minutes more. But it's looking nice. Obviously, this is all going to start to affect the tomato and onion straws timings. So we'll have to give that a little bit longer on the tomato and onion straws. So 5 more minutes, and then I'll answer because there's a few more questions. Are the breadsticks out yet, or are they coming out? I don't know if there's a pip code for it yet, but barbecue food. I don't have a barbecue, so it's kind of a problem. But you can do like fried veg and stuff like that. Yeah, I'll have to have a think. It's like I said, I want this to be a relatively consistent thing. So I'll have to have a look then. I'll have to have a look if they've got a pip code, because my doctors have seemed to have accepted all the other stuff that I've put on my list. So I can put on more stuff and slowly but surely test how annoying I can be by putting more and more stuff on my prescription. So yeah, like I said, I'm planning on this being a relatively consistent thing. Maybe every week is a bit much when everybody gets back to normal and when I get a bit back to normal. But certainly every other week or every month or that sort of thing I will be back here because it helps me. Fruit sauces could be looked into, fruit coulis. Yeah, I don't see why I won't be able to do a fruit coulis, especially as I've got like a mixer and stuff like that. Another thing that I got for my birthday, which I haven't shown off yet, I'm just going to get, and I'll take the caster sugar back. Is I finally have a hand mixer. So, saves my arms for certain things. So I finally have a hand mixer. I'll have to find a reason to use this hand mixer. But it's very much for like cakes and stuff. So I'll give it a go at some point. But that's another thing that I got for my birthday, which hasn't been used yet. So, okay. Yeah, I think I got an icing set too, which will probably obviously be useful for if I'm doing more elaborate cakes than the ones that I'm mainly doing today, but more elaborate cakes, certainly. Okay, so we've got about 2 more minutes left on that, and then I'll probably do the tomato onion straws for about 5 minutes, or about 3, 4, 5 minutes at their max heat, because they've obviously had 50 Celsius under. I can't remember if I've ordered that or not. I'll have to have a look because it was a big list and there was a lot of items that I didn't have on my list. So I'll have to have a look. Okay. Get in there. Yeah, I had a cooling rack. I had like little things, but I mean like the big items was waffle maker, brownie and donut maker, the hand mixer, and the spiralizer that you saw last week. So I'm slowly getting through all my new stuff. So I'm just going to get myself a little bit more to drink, because you don't realise until you start talking to people how much you don't talk to people. So your throat gets quite dry. Cold. Okay. Cool. So we've got about a minute left, so I'm just going to go get my cooling rack for the cake. Okay, so we've got here, let's get the cake out because it's going to be done in about 5 seconds, so I can stop that. What would you recommend are the equipment basics you should have in your kitchen? Oh. I'll answer once I've done this, so let me just double check. Might need a few minutes longer. Yeah. A few minutes longer. And then to be honest, tomato and onion straws might be done by then too. So it's just picking up a little bit more of the mixture. So I can now answer your question, Peter. Kitchen basics. A good knife set. A lot of chopping boards, these spoons for the measurements, and yeah, a good few sets of mixing bowls, and then I think pretty much, you're you're good to go in the basics, and then obviously if you need equipment or if you want to get equipment, then you're more than welcome to additionally get equipment if you need. But the main thing is you're going to need to cut things, you're going to need to measure things, and you're going to need bowls to mix that all in. And obviously bread tins. You can pretty much do anything with a bread tin. That's as far as my limited cooking knowledge knows. So, yeah, that's what I would recommend. Just because I haven't put it in the chat for quite a while. That's the recipes. So they're the recipes. Okay. Gonna set my alarm for about 4 more minutes because it's already had a minute. I think because I've had more apple than what the recipe stated, that's why it's taking a bit longer to cook. So it's worth factoring in. If you have more apple in your cake, then you might have to lengthen the amount of time that it takes for it to cook. I do not have a microwave. I'm quite old school when it comes to that. I find it weird. My previous partner wanted to have a microwave so badly, but I didn't want one. So yeah, I kind of just try and do everything without a microwave. But I did use a microwave, say, when I worked at my previous university for like heating up like pasta and soup and that sort of, mainly for a heating up basis. But I know people use microwaves for like potatoes or sweet potatoes. I hate potatoes and sweet potatoes coming from the microwave. It doesn't taste nice to me, so that's another reason why I don't have a microwave. But my mum's partner has a microwave oven at my mum's house. It's like some fancy thing. And that's probably because he eats meat, so he's banished to the microwave oven. So I don't particularly view it in an inclusive setting. Have you tried making bagels? I have not tried making bagels. I'm quite limited in the bread making department. Maybe that's an area that, the breaded area that I should look at. Because I've never made bagels. So I don't know how you would, but I can look into it, certainly. By this time next year, I'll know every recipe going for PKE. I won't, but I can give it a go. Right, so we've got a couple more minutes. Yeah, that cake's done now. It's looking golden. Okay. We'll deal with the cake, and then the tomato and onion straws we'll deal with. So let me just double check. Yeah. So, where's the cooling tray? Come back, cooling tray. I will have to have a look with the bagel. Ta-da! So, put that here. Ideally, I would have done it before. I would have flipped it the other way. But I can leave it to cool like that at the moment. So, there you go. It's quite a low cake. But I don't want to try and flip it too much. No, I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to leave it. Because it's a little bit fragile, because it's quite cracky, if you can see. So, yeah, so that's the cake. It's looking nice. I can't wait for it to cool. I probably won't eat it on camera because it would take a while for it to cool, or like at least to get to a temperature that I can cook, can consume. Because you're meant to eat it warm, but not. I've literally just come out the oven warm. Yes, I know. Thank you. So I've just put the tomato onion straws up. I'm just going to have a little look through the oven to use a plate. Right. There you go. So now you can see the top. How's it looking? Looks good. Yeah, you can see all the little chunks of apple in there, which is quite nice. So I'm just going to have a little look through the grate. Yeah. They're looking probably done, to be fair. So, I'll use this plate. Oh, I'll get a fresh plate because we're going to be doing pictures. So okay. So then the straws are nearly done. Okay. Okay. They're looking nice and crispy. Okay, so we're just going to put these on here. You want to try and get rid of the excess flour. So actually, I could put this on a cooling rack and it would get rid of the flour. You can't necessarily see these, so I'll bring them out. There you go. So this is officially the first time that I've made tomato onion straws. I didn't do any prep for this. So what you're seeing is exactly what the first time looks like. For me anyway. Okay. Turn off the oven. And there you have it. So we have our tomato onion straws. A bit of flour. You can get a little brush. I'll get a little brush actually. Now the irony is this is meant to be a pastry brush, but actually what you can do is you can get rid of all the flour off the tomato onion straws. Mm-hmm. This is not something that you should do after every one, but it's just because there's quite a lot of flour. Okay, so now that's quite a good representation of what the cookie. Oh, I'll flip that over. I'll go do that. That's quite a good visual representation of what it should look like. So there you go. So what you do then is you dip, or you'd eat that sort of thing. And what they taste like, obviously I can't eat them at the moment. What they taste like is a slight bit of tomato but more onion. And it's got a nice bit of a crunch. These can be defrosted, so can the cake, but the ideal one with the cake is that you should eat it fresh. But either one can be frozen. So especially if you make a big batch of the tomato onion straws, I typically have a set in my freezer anyway. So you can make a huge batch and then just freeze it. Okay, So yeah, so that's kind of what it's looking like now. So that is apple cake. So that's our apple cake. I'll take pictures and I'll put it up online. And that is our tomato onion straws. So hopefully, is there any further questions? Sounds like a court case. Is there any further questions, Joanne? While I'm just dusting my tomato onion straws. Could you make the violet straws with violet cheese? I don't see why you couldn't. You might have to melt the cheese a little bit, because obviously it's a physical thing. But you probably melt the cheese into it instead of the onion, maybe. So you could do a tomato and cheese straw. I can give it a go. You could have a look. So yeah, there you go. So yeah, thank you for coming. If you're watching this on afterwards, if you have any questions, the social media is there. But yeah, cheers for your time. Thank you for giving up a little bit of your Saturday to watch me cook in my kitchen. Again, yeah, so we'll be back in a couple of weeks. So I'm not going to do next week, but I'll be back in a couple of weeks' time. Probably doing dessert stuff. We'll see. But yeah, take care. Have a great rest of the weekend. And yeah, cheers for coming. Thanks, guys. See you in a bit.